guys, this is Stormouse03, and this is my Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings Dark Difficulty walkthrough. So we're going to be continuing Chapter 1 here, guys. The first thing that I wanted to show you real quick is this diagram for a superb silver sword that you got as a reward for the quest that we just did, the Knickers and Indraga contract. I'm not going to be making that. It is better than the robust silver sword that I have right now, but because it takes 4 chunks of silver, I'm not going to be making it at this point because that's kind of costly when I'm trying to save up to get the much better set of armor and swords. So I wanted to make note of that because if you are struggling with killing some of the monsters around this area, just know that you can make that silver sword, and that might make your life a little bit easier. But for right now, I'm not going to worry with it, and I'm going to head down to this ruined bridge here, and there's going to be this guy who has a couple Knickers, or I guess 3 Knickers attacking him, and we're going to want to bust in and save his bacon. And once you kill all 3 of those, you'll get a little scene where you talk to this guy, and he tells you about the troll that's under this bridge that is not doing his job right now. He has just become a drunken slob and allowed the bridge to fall into disrepair, and it's just terrible. So we're going to come down here and try to talk some sense into this troll down here. So you want to jump down. And I'm going to go ahead and put on Ken because I know that there's going to be a little fight here after I get done talking with him. So I'm going to put on Ken and head on around this corner and talk to Monsieur Troll. So you talk to him, you find out that he wants some booze, and you're like, nope. And so then he starts attacking you. You want to equip your silver sword, but don't run too far away because he'll start tossing boulders at you, and those boulders have an extremely large radius of effect and can really just kill you. So you want to try to stay sort of close to him, roll around. When he starts blocking, just kind of, back up for a few seconds, take a little break, put Ken back on so he can't, hit you too hard, and just keep wailing on him. I believe once you get him down to about half health, he'll be like, no, don't hurt me, I'll be good. And so once he does that, you can actually talk to him for a minute. You do have 2 choices here. You can either just kill him outright, and that completes the quest in one way, or you can do what I'm going to do, which is go and try to actually help this guy out. I would say this is probably the harder thing to do, but I think a little bit more rewarding. So once you get done talking to him, you find out that his mate was killed, and what he wants you to do is find the murderers, find out what happened to her and them, and bring them to justice is what we're going to be doing. So you want to climb back up here and head back into town, actually, and I'm going to do a little crossfade here as I get back into town. And so now that you're in Lobenden again, we're going to be actually looking for the guy who we saved. And so this is his house right here. It's just to the left as you enter the little area there. And if he's not in there, sometimes he's not, he'll usually be sitting outside, either on that bench or in front of this campfire. And that's him right there. And so you're going to talk to him and say, hey, what's up with the troll? And try to get him to agree to hire you to help the troll, whereas the contract was actually to kill the troll. So you want to talk to him in order to get the contract to help the troll, which is the thing that we're going to do. And then if you come around here to the right, you'll recognize this as Sindler's house, the guy who was the last person who we needed to beat in Dice Poker for the Poker Face side quest. And you may have noticed before that there is this troll head on his wall right there. And so you want to come talk to him and say, hey buddy, What's that on your wall?
Where do you get that head?
And he'll reveal to you that he didn't actually kill the troll, he bought it from someone who did. So that's always good to, you know, buy trophies that you didn't earn. So he'll point you in the direction of Dimitri and his thugs, who he suggests might be at the tavern, which is where you'll go to find them. And so the next thing that you want to make sure you do is to offer to buy the troll's head, but he won't sell it to you. You have to roll dice for it. You want to make note that you wanted to definitely finish up that poker face quest like we did before you do this. Because if you don't, then when you win, you'll just finish the poker face quest and you won't actually get the head. So you tell him you want the troll's head. That is because you want to be able to get this ingredient, troll tongue. That's for a quest that we're going to be doing later on. And then we're going to be making our way to the inn. And in the bottom floor of this inn, you're going to talk to this guy right here with his lovely fur vest thing, and if you intimidate him here, he will tell you where Dimitri is. If you fail this intimidation check or the speech check, he'll just fist fight you. And so that's pretty easy. You'll just do the fist fight with the little quick times like you've done before, and you'll get the same information. And then we're going to head back to Lobenden, or the Lobenden exit, rather. We're not actually going into that little area. And we're going to be making our way to the cemetery. And we're going to be fighting Dimitri and I think about 4 of his minions. And this fight is really unpleasant. It's probably one of the harder fights in the game for me, just because Dimitri is really cheap with his throwing knives, and there are just so many guys up here. So it's going to be right up here. You can see sort of above my head there. But what you're going to want to do is prepare for this fight. So what I do for this one is I like to put a whetstone on my steel sword and put on kin. And then you want to run up here and trigger this dialogue here. And this is one of the areas where I like to use bombs, just because there's a lot of guys here and I want to try to clear out as many of them as quickly as possible. This is a good area to get the Torn Asunder achievement, as you're going to see me get right here, because you can cluster those 3 guys up and take them out. I actually died right after I got that achievement, so I'm going to just crossfade to where I start the fight again. But just to note, you can get that achievement there. So, we're going to do sort of the same thing again, try to cluster these guys up, toss some bombs, take out as many of them as you can with those. You can make more bombs in preparation for this fight if you want to. That's actually a pretty good idea, if that's what you want to do. And then you want to kind of move around here. So you'll remember I said Dimitri uses throwing knives, and so you want to kind of hug the wall there so that he can't really get a good shot on you if you need to come down that path and recharge your magic. And then we're going to take out that last bandit there. And now when you have him by himself, you want to try as much as you can to avoid his throwing knives. So if you need to back up and get some distance, kind of roll, make sure that you hug the sides of the path and like try to put some cover in between you and him, like I'm doing right now. And a good strategy for him is to try to stay sort of close to him, because like I said, if he throws one of those knives at you, it can be really, really unpleasant. So kind of trying to stay close to him, use kin, use other magic if you want to, And what I'm doing right now is saying, screw it, I'm not going to be rolling around him anymore, I'm just going to hit him. He is pretty slow moving, so this is effective if you just keep hitting him with quick strikes. He usually doesn't have time to recover enough to hit you or counter strike. So that was my strategy there. You want to make sure you pick up all the stuff from the bodies and things that are in this area, and then we're going to be moving back down to the troll. But like I said, that fight can be really tricky. You definitely want to make a save there, because they can kill you pretty fast if anything goes wrong. So once you've killed them, you can come back down here and talk to the troll. Let him know that you have avenged his wife's murder. I found your mate's murderers, is what you want to say to him. And he will then be, you know, at least appeased and agree to continue doing his job of maintaining the bridge and all that kind of good stuff. So the other way you could have dealt with this would be just to kill the troll. And whichever you decide to do, you want to make sure that you're consistent throughout the game. So there's going to be trolls in the next act as well. And if you helped this one, you want to help them. If you killed this one, you want to kill them. And that's just because there's 2 separate achievements attached to both of those things. When you come back into town, we're going to find the guy who we had the little contract with to help the troll. And again, if he's not outside, he will be in his house here. And here's where we find him, just laying around. And he tries to cheat you and only give you 100 coins. But if you tell him that the troll didn't try to cheat you, he'll usually cave and give you the money that he agreed to pay you in the first place. Which is good. A little bit of extra money for completing this quest. So that finishes Troll Trouble. And now we're going to head back into town, back out to the harbor here, and pick up another side quest that we're going to be doing right now. It's called The Scent of Incense, and so you're going to talk to this guy in the floofy hat, and he's going to ask you to get an ingredient from a shopkeeper back in town, and if you agree to do that, that will initiate this quest here. And we're going to head back into town and talk to that shopkeeper. So as with most of these quests, there are a couple ways that you can do this. You can get the actual ingredient or the actual recipe from this guy. You have to pass a couple of speech checks in order to do that. Or you can talk to him and he'll ask, if you'll take this guy a fake. And I know from having done this quest before that the guy who's trying to get the formula is a turd. So I don't want to give him the real formula anyway. So what I'm going to do is just agree to take the fake to him. Because again, he's a turd face. I don't want to give him the real thing. And this is how I'm going to do it. And if you can't pass the speech checks anyway, then you might have to do it this way just because. I'm looking through his stuff right now, just showing you he has some things that we want to be able to buy later. The robust cloth, the hardened leather, and the studded leather. So when you talk to these ladies here, they're going to ask you to close his shop down. And so the reason why I showed you that he has, some pretty useful items in his shop is to show you why I don't actually want to do that. So when you talk to him, he's going to deny that he's, a drug dealer and all that. He's probably a liar. But I'm going to go ahead and say I believe you anyway, because I don't want to close his shop down. So when you talk to this lady, you tell her, nope, he's not a drug dealer. I don't know what you're talking about. and that will complete that quest. You don't get any XP for it because you didn't actually complete it the way that they wanted you to. But I think that that's an okay trade-off because we're going to be wanting to buy some items from him. So that's the way that I go about doing that during this run here. And so we're going to go back out and head back down. That's actually not the right way. You want to go down the middle ramp here and talk to the floofy hat guy and tell him that you got his recipe for him. And he's sort of a sly individual. He doesn't want to take that at face value, and so he tells you that, you know, before you get your reward, you're going to have to meet him, and he's going to have to confirm the authenticity of the formula. So unfortunately, we're going to have to go and do a little bit more with this quest here. So we're going to have to meet this guy outside the Labenden exit from town again. He's going to be on our right as we go out there, and he's going to ask us to go with him to his little secret laboratory. And in order to keep his laboratory a secret laboratory, he wants you to agree to be blindfolded as well. Just note that you have to agree to that in order to continue. So you can say no, but that's not going to allow you to continue the quest. So here he is, just to the right here. And again, he's gonna tell you that he wants to blindfold you. I actually hit the wrong thing here. You need to just say alright. But it'll give you another chance. So be it. Blindfold me, and then it's going to give you a little cutscene. And when you wake up from that cutscene, you're going to be sort of imprisoned here. They're going to be mad because you gave them the fake formula, but that's okay because they're turds. So you put on your ARD sign and use it to smash through this door. And then I'm going to throw on Ken because I don't want to get hit as I'm coming out of here because you've got no weapons at this point. And if you go to that little glowing thing on the side of that rack right there, you can pick up this sword. It will automatically equip it for you, which is nice. And then you just want to kind of run back, get some distance, throw on Ken again just in case you get hit, and start dealing with these bandits. There are a crap ton of them in this area, and they can put some hurting on you right quick. So I'm going to show you a strategy here that I like to use that helps to, you know, save your life here during this little section. So what you're going to see me do is kind of go around this column here and try to get them to follow me pretty closely so that they don't end up going around opposite sides and pinning me in between them. So that's kind of why I'm going around pretty slowly, just sort of trying to lure them all around from one direction, and, you know, waiting for my magic to recharge and using Igni to kill pretty much all of these guys. Once you get it down to 1 or 2, you can probably use your sword a little bit more, but it's just too dangerous and not worth it at this point because there are so many of them and they can surround you really quickly, and that's just bad news. When you get one by himself, you might be able to get in a couple of hits like that, but even that is kind of risky. So that's my advice here, is to just use Igni, get them to follow you around the column here, and take them out a little bit at a time. If you're wondering why I waited so long to pick up this particular quest, because it was available maybe even from the beginning of this chapter. This side quest was at least available from the point when you went outside and encountered the Karen and picked up that quest. But I waited to pick it up until this point because I wanted to have my magic upgraded a little bit. So I was able to level up enough to be able to put a point into my +5 signs damage thing. That was after I did that Necker contract. You saw me do that. And so I wanted to make sure that I had a little bit more damage on my magic in order to go for this quest here, because if you haven't upgraded your magic, it's going to take even longer than it does, and it already takes quite a long time to kill all of these bandits. You also want to make sure that you're going sort of just in one spot, so just around the column. You don't want to move into other areas, because you saw a second ago I got myself almost cornered in an area back around, and that was because I was getting sort of tired of running around the column, and got myself into a situation where it wasn't as good. So you just want to be patient. Make sure that you're getting these guys into a position that's advantageous for you, and that will help you take these guys out and make a pretty tough fight into an easy one. You know, I mean, it's a little bit lengthy, but at least you're going to be not in too much danger of dying there. So once you finish killing all those guys, that will complete that quest and give you your XP for it. And you want to make sure to head back around to the place where you exited the door there and pick up your equipment from that chest. That'll be your weapons and bombs and things that they took away from you. And so you want to make sure that you go and grab it and put back on anything that you want to have equipped. And you can take that boat right there back to town, or you can come out of the area up here. There's a little path here that will lead you back into the woods. So you can do either one of those things, and that will be the end of that quest. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.